as we discussed yesterday, Jonathan, we need to come full circle here on Joe Manchin Build Back Better plan. Why that's so important to us, as we talked about yesterday and all the shows before, because it's in that Build Back Better plan. If we're going to see immigration reform, that's where it's going to be. And we've been waiting on this Build Back Better plan for more than 6 months, 7 months. We've heard about it. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, parliamentarian. The Democrats have majorities in both houses. We're going to pass it. And we're stuck with one guy in the U.S. Senate who won't go forward with it, who is a Democrat in party affiliation, but certainly not a Democrat in political, in his own policies. And he said that he cannot vote for this Build Back Better plan because he said, if I can't go home back to West Virginia and explain it, I can't vote for it. Despite my best efforts, I cannot explain the sweeping Build Back Better Act in West Virginia. I'm not sure how he can't explain it because people were polled in West Virginia about the specifics in it in terms of the climate change proposals, in terms of the Medicaid proposals, in terms of earned income tax credit proposals. And according to the World Population Review and a West Virginia poll basically said that they favor in a poll, likely poll of 348 voters, they favor by more than 43 points. Is that it, Jill? Where do they favor? Majority by more than 40 points approve of the Build Back Better plan. So 40 points plus, in the 40 points plus column. Favor it.
Okay.
Yet he can't explain it. They tested support for creating a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers, those on the temporary protected status. They found by a 40-point plus margin, voters in West Virginia approve of it. Majority also supports back having the wealthiest people in the United States of America and corporations pay for Build Back America. So it is not an inflationary policy,
like he said,
as he's saying, because it's just taking money from one hand and giving it to another. So we don't know exactly why he's saying he can't explain it. West Virginians understand it. They're in favor of it.
It's almost like he keeps on coming with more excuses, and we keep on coming back like, no, that's not the case.
And this is a Republican state, yo-yo, and they're in favor. And you want to know what's interesting about Republican states? And I say this all the time. Most people who are voting Republican are voting against their own economic interests.
Right.
Okay, Republicans are the best marketers in the world. You want to know why? Because they get basically the only people economically who prosper under Republicans are the top 1%. 99% of Americans economically, if they're voting for your economic interests, should be voting Democrat.
I agree.
So when you go to Republicans, are you in favor of earned income tax credit? Are you in favor of Obamacare, which is, medical care for everybody? Are you in favor of all of these Democratic proposals that are in Build Back America on an individual basis? They say yes, including immigration reform. Yet they vote Republican. Why? Because Republicans are good at two things. They're very good at dividing people up based on some social issues that are in the United States. And they're very good at convincing people that if you're voting against your economic interests, money will trickle down to you and you'll be in the top 1% and you'll be able to live like we do.
How?
I don't know how. They're good at that stuff.
What?
Because people say, we don't want to tax and, blah, 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 blah. You're taxing wealthy people.
Right.
They're not taxing you. They're taxing wealthy people. And they're giving wealthy people's money to you. So unless you're in the top 1%, it's not in your economic interest to be voting Republican.
Now that makes sense.
Okay, but so what do? They come up with guns.
Right.
They come up,
Right.
with
like
all
different. Those are the social issues.
all the social issues that get people up in a lather.
That makes a lot of sense now.
So, but they do that. Most of the wealthy people, I would believe, not everybody, but a lot of the wealthy people who vote Republican, they're all voting for their economic interests.
Absolutely.
And they don't care about social issues.
Right.
Donald Trump doesn't care about. Donald Trump cared less about social issues.
Right.
Okay, he was a Democrat at one point. He was a Democrat at one point.
When was that?
He was donating money. Hillary Clinton was at his wedding.
Wow.
All right, so they're all. It's like a bunch of people get together and say, how do we convince a bunch of people to vote for us?
Yeah. Manipulation.
That's
crazy because I was like, how is the percentage so high in West Virginia if that's a Republican state?
Right.
But what you said when you said they are voting against their economic status, it makes sense.
Against their economic interests.
Yeah, all right, yeah,
right.
interest.
Because if you go back, I have on my card here somewhere. West Virginia.
So they're definitely not going to vote.
West Virginia is the second poorest state.
Wow.
The West Virginia is the second poorest state in the United States. They have a median household income of $48,850. Wow. They have a poverty rate of 17%. This is a state that should be voting Democrat. If any state should be voting Democrat, it would be a state where 17% of the people live in poverty. And the Democrats are providing programs to pull people out of poverty, to give them an opportunity. And they're voting Republican because the Republicans say, you know what? It's trickle-down economics. If the rich people have money, we'll spend, it'll trickle down to you, and maybe you'll make some money, and it gives you an opportunity to be in the top 1%.
That's the dumbest thing
They
ever.
sell the American dream where there's no American dream.
That is wild.
They sell an American dream where there's no American dream. That's what they sell.
Yeah.
And they're very good at it.
I'm not going to hold you. That would be, those are not the type of people I would want to be around. I don't think they like my kind.
So I don't know what's going to happen with this Build Back Better plan. Every time the Democrats think they got a deal, then they don't got a deal. Mm-hmm. And now once they have a deal, what's going to be the immigration?
Right. So we're not even at that point.
We're not even at that point yet. Let's get everybody to agree to vote for it. So they have an entire House of Representatives that passed it, and they got 49 senators and one holdout. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.